Okay, you see the title. I'm sure you already know I'm pissed. But I gotta say this. Very rarely do anyone leave comments below that just shows they really don't understand what's going on. They don't. I mean, I always get different opinions. There's no problem. And I always debate them. And I give my opinion. But sometimes there's a few who really want to deny what's going on. You see this show. What does it remind you of? Does it remind you of Triple H's booking of NXT Black and Gold? Because this is one of the things these people who legitimately want to bury Triple H, and understand, I'm not big on Triple H. I know he's not the best booker there is. Guys, at one point I stopped watching NXT. Years ago, I didn't ever review it. I did a couple of reviews, and then when I realized what the situation was with Vince, I quit. Because unlike JD or just Alex, I wasn't going to go through this madness of seeing talent who has been booked correctly, whether you like it or not, put to the main roster, but not use what they built. And I've heard the line from either Triple H himself, from Vince McMahon, which is bullshit, from Triple H, which is bullshit, from Jerry the King Lawler, or Booker T for that matter. They say when you go to the main roster, it doesn't translate. A lot of times that's bullshit. There are gimmicks that worked. Look at Charlotte Flair. They didn't change her ass. They left it as it was because they wanted to. It is always about what they allow, not that it doesn't work all the time. It's what they allow. And when you see the situation with this show, this wasn't a Triple H booking. This wasn't 100% at all a HBK booking. This is something that has been done for many, many years. A Vince McMahon booking. Let's go through this show. I'm just going to shoot through this and then I'm going to rant afterward. We got tag match. We got Andre and Duke of Chase U versus Dempsey, the son of who I'm wondering when they'll allow on screen, and that is, you know who is, you know you love him. I'm wondering when he will be shown. I'm just wondering. Will he? I wonder. I don't know how long it'll be before they show William Regal. I'm wondering, will it be a year before they show him, or will he never be in front of the screen ever again? I'm wondering, will he ever be on screen with his son? Of course, he can't wrestle anymore. He can't. He just got his neck done. But he could be his manager. I would love to see Charlie Dempsey with his dad, and his dad as his manager. I would love to see that at least once. But I'll give you like this. The match was fine. It was a bit botchy. A little bit botchy. At one point, I can't remember which part it was. I think it was near the end. It might have had one botch, but generally it was fine. What did we get? We got Chase U winning. But it was because of Thea. Thea decided to put a Kimura lock on Drew Gulak. I always mispronounce his last name. But she put that on him, and that prevented him from getting into the ring and legitimately helping Charlie from losing. That was a surprise. I'm alright with it. Now, I know everyone else is not fond of Thea. They're not. But it's going with story. Thea has learned a little bit more how to work because she worked with Charlie and Drew. And now she's demanding, because of Duke and Andre, a rematch against that, let's make it clear, the Mandy Rose 2.0 of a Tiffany Stratton. And let's go to Tiffany Stratton versus an Ivy Nile. I want to get that done quickly. This was a botchy match. It was. There's no way around it. That match was botchy. And I'm not going to tell you that Tiffany can't wrestle. She can't. I'm not going to tell you that I, I'm sure people are going to say easily, Ivy Nile cannot wrestle, but she can. But the problem is she's more skewed towards more MMA style than she is pro wrestling style, and it shows. She does too much to compensate for that. If you've seen how the beginning and the middle of that match was, she didn't try to do holds like in a regular pro wrestling style. She tried to do MMA. She tried to do a lot of flips. She also tried to do a lot of kicks. Now, you would say that's an area, someone who's a high flyer, but in her case, she doesn't high fly. So she's doing more of what she knows to do. A lot of high kicks, a lot of high impact. And it shows that she still has an issue of the balance being off. This is MMA, this is pro wrestling. She's more like this than like this. It shows. It does. In the end, she lost due to the fact that Tiffany was a bit sloppy herself. Both of them were not, their chemistry was off. Now, when it was over, we did see the rivals to the Creeds, to Diamond Mine, the Schism messing with her. And you wonder, was it Joe Gacy or was it Alva Rain who did the headbutt to a Julius Creed, which I feel these two are not going to get it well on the main roster, no matter if it's Raw, SmackDown, or the pool of the free agents going back and forth. I don't think they're going to get it well, but this is just me. Okay, let's go to another women's match. We get Cora Jade versus Kalani. I think her name is Kalani Jordan. And here's another one that's very young. Let's make this clear. I'm not against Ivy. I'm not against Tiffany Stratton. I'm not even against Kalani Jordan. I'm not, if that's her name, Jordan. Kalani. Let's make this clear. They're all right wrestlers, but they still have not learned that they have to balance having pro wrestling ability and strategy with what brought them to the performance center in the beginning. Either track and field, basketball, maybe a football background, or even MMA. They need to balance it out. And her, I believe she was a cheerleader at one point, and a gymnastics, and she was a gymnast as well. And that shows, because when you see Kalani, she's still a gymnast. Does it look crisp, her moves? Yes. Just guess what? She reminds me of Soruka, who I really like. I really like Soruka. Next to she's being a beautiful woman, she does have potential, but she still has the same problem that she does more gymnastics and more aerial or more stunts than pro wrestling, and it shows. The same thing with Kalani. She's the same way. And that's a hindrance to the person who she's up against, like Cora Jade. I'm not saying Cora Jade is perfect. She's not. But she does have the fundamentals, how to do the match, how to entice the crowd or antagonize the crowd. And it shows, because if she didn't do what she did, this would have been a very boring match. I'm sure if just Alex sold to JD, they may say it wasn't that bad. There was a good amount of spots. There's a problem. Spots have to go with psychology. How you mess with the crowd. How you cheer out the crowd. How you make the crowd want you. Like what happened with Ivy Nile and Tiffany Stratton. What did the people cheer? They cheered her literally saying you tapped out. The majority of the time when it came to Tiffany, it was saying you tapped out. It's because how well, at least, she understands the fundamentals. She understands how to entice the crowd, how to piss them off, how to make herself look mean, nasty, or whatever you want. It works when it comes to that. And you just see Jordan doesn't have it. She just doesn't have it. And Cora Jade is doing it there. But then when you look at, clearly when the match was over, Cora Jade won, she got the kendo stick, she's about to whoop that ass. Now you see a more seasoned veteran in a Dana Brooke. And I know I'm laughing because you're thinking, oh, she's nothing. It's not that. Dana is exactly the same archetype. She's never fully understood to crank back a little bit of her gymnastic ability. She hasn't. She's still exactly the same way she was when she left NXT. She does more high impact and more fancy movements than she does more fundamental wrestling. And sometimes it works. Let's make it clear. Don't get it twisted on any of these women I'm talking about. When it comes to Saruka, when it comes to Tiffany Stratton, when it comes to Ivan Nile, when it comes Lily, even Become. It doesn't even matter. Even with Dana Brooke, when you do the moves right at the right time, it's fine. But with bad understanding of psychology, you get Dana Brooke dealing with Cora Jade, who Cora Jade looks way better than Dana because Cora Jade understands the fundamentals. She knows how to mess with the crowd. She knows how to do the match. She knows how to at least guide it to a certain extent. She is no ring general. No. But you can see it. And then you see Dana. Yes, she's not a bad looking woman. She's beautiful. She has great breasts. But the problem is that she hasn't learned anything other than still being mainly a gymnast. And that's one of the problems she has. Mind you, she does understand psychology. Yes, she does. And if you say she doesn't, she does. But it's not enough to counteract her caring more about doing high impact and gymnastics. It just still is an issue. She still hasn't cranked it back. I'm just saying. Now, here is a match that I gotta say should not have been on the show at all. It should have been on another show. Number one contendership. Dragunov versus Braun Breaker. And let's make this clear. We knew Braun was going to win, but... No, not Braun was going to win. I really did believe, and I knew that it had to be Braun. But I'm not going to say I didn't think Dragunov wouldn't be interesting. I said in my head, I know he's going to win. But he got his ass handed to him. Nicely ass handing. And I'm going, whoa. We're getting something new. We're not getting Braun Breaker in the main title scene anymore. It does make you a little nervous because you're wondering, was this his last match? Was it his last match and he's going to the main roster? Or they're going to try and shift into somewhere else and have another feud with somebody else? That's going to be the big question. But this match should have never happened here. If this match had to happen on the show, it should have been the main event. This was stupid. This was beyond stupid. I hate it. It pissed me off. I'm moving on to the next match that should have had its own show. In fact, Starks, the underboss versus Joe Coffey. The freedom of Tony D'Angelo. If Stacks wins, Tony's charges and the implications are dropped. If he loses, he goes to trial. Why wasn't this saved for the premium live event, the PLE, huh? Pay-per-view. Fuck you, you're just trying to make it sound new. You know the reason why they're doing premium live events? Because it sounds more new, more hip. I can't believe I said hip. It sounds more new and fresh than pay-per-view, which has been around for nearly as long as I've lived. From the time I was maybe 10 years old, they've been talking about pay-per-views. Or on demand. It was first on demand, then it went to pay-per-views. Around the same time, I think 1970s was on demand. Then they went to pay-per-views. And it's always been pay-per-views ever since. Now they're doing premium live events to make it sound new, fresh and new. Please, whatever the fuck. Same thing. But still, this could have been saved for the premium live event. You could have had the underboss with this moment, with the same thing, the same situation, the same everything, and you could have saved it for the Great American Bash. Because, what? You have 2 weeks, and you could have saved it, well, actually 3 weeks. Well, 2 weeks and 3 days. Say about 3 or 4, wait a minute, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 weeks and 5 days. I'm sorry. Because you got to count Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They go 5 days. 5 days. They couldn't even wait to blow their load. And that is not Triple H. He doesn't run NXT. It is Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels wasn't the one that made this decision. I truly believe he would have put this on the Great American Bash. This was not done that way. This had to be a Vince decision. I truly believe. If Shawn made this decision, why? That was stupid if he did, which I don't believe so. Because if you haven't been watching the show for the last month or two easily, the show is not the same. It's off. So I truly believe that Shawn Michaels didn't make this call on purpose. He was forced to. I truly believe he was forced to. Let's make it clear. Was the match good? Yeah. Hearing Tony D being called by Vic Joseph was interesting. Hearing him on the Titantron cheering a underboss saying, "It worked, the trick worked, just kick that ass, you can do it." Because guess what? It was a setup. Pretty much. What they could have saved for the Calm. You see I'm mad. Calm. You see what could have been saved for the premium live event. They could have still hammed this up for another 2 weeks, making dissension between Tony D even more important against Stacks. It would have been great. You could have had Tony D in the same room as Stacks for Coffee to be nearby. He's hammering on the wall, screaming at Stacks, and Stacks is hammering and really trying to make it look like he's still doing moves just to keep it going. No. They blow their load. Forcefully blown their load. Let's move on. Final match, which easily closing the show, was fine. You got Judgment Day coming in the beginning, calling out Mello and Trick. Now, the opening was fine. Wanting a match was fine. Getting the match was fine. The match quality was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. Seeing Dragunov coming out trying to stop Damian Priest from using the Money in the Bank briefcase to nail Mello in the face. No problem. But you made Mello job. That's 2 times. And worse yet, it makes no sense. Why would you make Mello job? Why? Why would you even need to make Mello job? There was no point on the Monday Night Raw. He had no reason to job on Monday Night Raw versus a Finn Balor. He didn't need to go to Monday Night Raw. He didn't need to face Finn. Then you bring Judgment Day there. And what was the point? What was the point of Mello getting jobbed here? What? To make it easier for Dragunov to take the damn title and they call up Mello? You could have done that anyway. There wouldn't have been a problem. At least making Mello look strong would make it more sensible going 2 weeks and 5 days, if I'm right, to their next premium live event. But no. You're telling me Vince decided, and if anybody says this is Triple H, you're wrong. Triple H has no interest in interfering with NXT. Because guess what? NXT is mostly a reflection of what Triple H would do anyway. And if you say Triple H caused that, then you really don't understand the booking of Triple H. Because Shawn Michaels is booking mostly like Triple H did. And he's also booking somewhat like Vince McMahon did. But this was dumb. It doesn't help Mello at all. And that's what Shawn Michaels does with his shows. It's not perfect, and I've always said he only produces general work. Wrestling 101. Book your faces good. Book your heels good. Make sure the wrestling is correct. Make sure the people that you put on screen understand how to look into a camera, or at least face a camera when it's necessary when you wrestle. Make sure the fans get interested. Make sure the people at home are interested. Make sure you do a good amount of promos. Vid packs, like what happened with Baron Corbin. I can't really speak on it because, yes, he burnt all his stuff when he was King Corbin, Constable Corbin, when he was the wrestling god. All of that. He burned his stuff, but he doesn't know where he belongs. I'm leaving it to see where they're going to go with it. All of that, those are the types of things Shawn Michaels done. And Triple H would have easily done. He's not doing as much as Triple H because he's balancing it out by taking some of what he learned from Vince McMahon after working with for 30 freaking years. He's taking the best what he knows from Vince and the best what he knows from his best friend, making it his own, taking bits from both and tweaking them to make him work for himself. And this is not how he books. If anybody says this is Triple H, you don't know anything. I'm not taking anything from you. You have the right to say your opinion, but I'm going to tell you below, you really don't know Triple H's booking. You don't. We already know from reports that Vince has been calling Triple H to change the show. When he doesn't show up on the show, and within a few hours before the show comes on, he rips up the damn scripts. If you don't know that, go look on the cheat sheets yourself. Unless you don't believe they're all legitimate, then what's the point of watching me then? Why? So you can vent because you're not getting what you want, someone's screwing with you? Guess what? You know what I'm going to do? If you're crying like a bitch, and I'm not being mean to anybody, but if you're crying like a bitch saying, you're not happy, you're gone. I'll either mute you or I'll delete you. And I don't normally do that, but you know what? I've learned a lesson where people just love to screw with you. I'm not going to do with that. I'm not going to deal with it anymore. But the point is, this is not a Triple H booking. This is not a Shawn Michaels booking. It looks like a forced booking of Vince McMahon where twice now, not once on Raw, where he went up against Finn Balor and got his ass handed to him in a good match, but it's not the point. The NXT champion shouldn't be jobbing on Raw. And then worse yet, you bring Judgment Day to the show. And instead of protecting your champ, you just had him job now twice to one of the people of the same faction. It does not make Melo look good at all going in the Great American Bash. It doesn't. It don't. At all. So what do we have here? Two wasted